Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy Tuesday. There is a lot happening in the news today from a macroeconomic perspective. You've probably heard by now that oil prices have gone negative. This means there is such an oversupply in the world and demand is so low for oil, it's actually costing the producers to hold on to it, to store and physically shelve their products. So they're actually paying people now something like $34 to take it off their hands. That is happening in conjunction with a lot of other economic tremors. For example, Virgin Australia is the first major airline to become a victim of COVID-19 and the economic downturn. So that's happening. There are some silver linings, however. We're going to discuss the fact that on Forbes.com, they're saying that Americans are actually using their stimulus checks to buy Bitcoin. And then here on CoinSpeaker, how the world's largest economies plan to implement Bitcoin. However, to kind of temper expectations, there are still some analysts that are saying the Bitcoin halving is not really going to have that invigorating effect we would have all hoped for. We'll take a look at those stories in just a second. Let's first take a look at the markets on coinmarketcap.com. We've slipped a little bit, $196.3 billion right now. Things down 3-4% overall today. As you can see, Bitcoin is back below 7K, $6,851 right now at the time of this recording. A few projects down 3, 4, 5, 6% or so. Unfortunately, this morning as I record this, dominance right now 63.6%. So what does it mean when we say that oil prices have gone negative? Well, last time I checked, it was negative $34. That was the mark. So minus $34. It means that for somebody buying oil at the time, they get paid $34 to take it off the hands of those that are producing it because there is a massive oversupply of that particular commodity. Nobody is really using it right now, and therefore the demand is very, very, very low. In fact, it's at all-time lows. And this all happened because the futures market was closing, and if anyone held oil futures, well, they're going to have to take physical possession. And because most people did not intend to buy physical oil, everyone sold it, and there was no one willing to buy it. Take that also into consideration alongside the fact that people aren't traveling the same way, people aren't filling up their vehicles, people aren't flying. This is all happening because the global demand for oil is dying, at least temporarily. The aviation industry is one of those that has been perhaps hardest hit, and here on thepointsguy.com, Virgin Australia goes bust, becomes largest airline coronavirus casualty. So Virgin Australia has officially become the largest airline to fail amid the novel coronavirus pandemic that is driving the worst crisis ever faced by global airlines. It's especially difficult right now for anything that's hospitality related. So airlines, cruise ships, of course, hotels. You know, I've spoken about this before, but the CEO of Marriott Group, the Marriott Group of Hotels, has come out and said, you know, we were around when we had World War II. We lived through the Great Depression, and numbers then were certainly down, probably down about 25% or so. And that was very difficult, and we certainly took a hit. But with coronavirus, numbers are down 90%, sometimes 95%. So they've not faced anything like this. This is by far the worst challenge that some of these hospitality industries have ever faced. Virgin Australia has entered, quote, voluntary administration, the Australian equivalent of bankruptcy restructuring, on the 21st of April, Virgin Australia said in a statement. The process will allow the airline to restructure and seek outside investment after its current shareholders and the Australian government declined to provide aid. Quote, our intention is to undertake a process to restructure and refinance the business and bring it out of administration as soon as possible, said Vaughn Strawbridge, one of Virgin Australia's administrators and a partner at Deloitte, in a statement. Quote, we have commenced a process of seeking interest from parties for participation in the recapitalization of the business and its future. This news comes to us after Virgin has teetered on the edge of the precipice for weeks, already financially weak after a costly multi-year investment spree. The airline sought an Australian dollar 1.4 billion loan from the federal government at the end of March, and that loan was denied, as were requests for additional funds from its major shareholders, Etihad Airways. I used to work there, by the way. Chinese groups HNA and Nanshan, and Singapore Airlines, the Sydney Morning Herald has reported. And look, I'm not cheering on the fall of Virgin Australia or any other airline for that matter, but this does relate back into, a lot of different variables, but it certainly does relate back into what we discussed in terms of negative oil prices. And you can restructure as well all you want. You can make yourself a lean, mean fighting machine as far as a corporation, but if the demand isn't there, if people aren't using your service, look, there's only so much you can do. Here, Odd Gems on Twitter. Oil is trading below $0 on CME futures. This means the producer will pay for someone to take it away. And this is a meme that's gaining a lot of popularity. I started seeing this probably 3 or 4 days ago for the first time, and now it's just ubiquitous. It is everywhere. The funeral dancers carrying the oil, which has passed away, unfortunately. All this to say that the price action of oil is having a very widespread effect, and I fear that this is only just the beginning. But let's focus on some good news, because it turns out, according to Forbes.com, that Americans are using their stimulus checks to buy Bitcoin. Sharp moves in the Bitcoin price tend to be an incredible marketing tool for the crypto asset, and a number of exchanges reported increased account activity when the price dropped in the middle of March. And in addition, the halving event, which is when the number of new Bitcoin created around every 10 minutes is cut in half, is estimated to take place next month, which has even more people interested in where the price will go next. And one industry CEO has referred to the circumstances around the upcoming halving as, quote, a perfect storm for Bitcoin, while former Facebook executive Chamath Palihapitiya has indicated that there is now an increased chance a single Bitcoin could eventually be worth millions of dollars. Check out our video on that from the other day where we covered Chamath's comments. And now apparently a large number of posts have shown up on the Bitcoin subreddit where users have claimed they used their $1,200 in stimulus money from the CARES Act to buy more of the cryptocurrency, i.e. Bitcoin. And there's data that suggests this is more than just talk. There's always going to be some people that use their money to buy Bitcoin, whether it's a stimulus check, whether it's welfare, whether it's their salary, whatever. So I'm not too surprised for that. And it's not to say that the majority of people are using their $1,200 to buy Bitcoin, but nonetheless, it's encouraging to hear. Brad Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, last week shared a graph of user activity on the cryptocurrency exchange platform that indicated more transactions were being made of exactly $1,200. So for that specific amount, $1,200. And like I said, certainly not everybody is doing this, but some people apparently are. And let's close on this. As one Reddit user put it, quote, putting an inflationary currency into a deflationary currency. What a novel idea. And here on Coinspeaker.com, we have this interesting piece, how the world's largest economies plan to implement Bitcoin. This is more from a layman's perspective. For example, the article starts with this basics of blockchain technology, so kind of like a 101 onto what it's all about and how it could be applied, whether or not large economies of the world will implement Bitcoin, and if so, how. Basically, it's more than just currency. You guys know this already. Anywhere you need to monitor, gather, or analyze data, there's a blockchain solution that is likely out there. And finally, Bitcoin's relationship with the traditional financial market. So take a look at this. We'll link to it in the description below. And you can also look at this piece here. I don't want to end with a downer. This is on cryptoslate.com. But there are some suggestions as to why Bitcoin's post-halving price may disappoint certain investors based on a large number of simulations. The suggestion seems to be, or the trend seems to be, that the bull run won't necessarily be sparked by this upcoming halving event in May of 2020. But simulations are just that. They cannot predict the future, and they cannot predict black swan events in the form of what we've been seeing. Coronavirus, for example, comes to mind. So the future is yet to be written, and we'll see what happens. Nevertheless, if you guys want to check this out, we'll link to it in the description below. But that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels, and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications if you've enjoyed today's video. Have a great Tuesday, everybody, a great start to your week, and as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.